Buddy, another good interview going on today with an Iranian guy who I saw some great videos of online. Give me a second, I'm just going to invite him in. Let's give him a second to join. This should be a really, really good talk. If you saw the last one that I did, the last interview, it was a really good one, so I think this one will be excellent as well. So stay tuned. Give me another second here. I'm going to invite him again. He should be coming in right now. Every time I do these lives, it's very difficult to get people to join for some reason. Let's hope it works. If not, I'll just close it. I'll give it another 10 seconds. If he can't get on, I just keep inviting him. I might have to close it. And there we go.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing?
I'm good. So you said let's jump on live. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Well, I saw a great video that you had given a speech about the hypocrisy that you feel the world has toward Israel, which I thought was very, very
Yeah.
well said. It's always interesting to hear. You're Iranian, correct? Oh, your audio went out. I don't know if you can hear me still. Still out? Oh, there you're back. Wait. Your audio is cutting
No,
off.
no. The thing is, someone keeps calling me. I put it on sleep mode now, so I don't get the calls. Yeah, go on.
Oh, okay, amazing. So you had given a great speech about the hypocrisy the world demonstrates toward Israel, and you're very fair in what you said. You said that you don't think it's a perfect country, but that
Yeah.
it just seems to have a disproportionate amount of like hypocrisy towards it in terms of the standards. And you're Iranian, correct?
Yes, I'm Iranian. Yeah, I was born in Iran, grew up in Iran till I was 13. I'm not Jewish. Yeah.
So can you just tell us a little bit of background about yourself and kind of, a lot of people who aren't Jewish or evangelical hold negative views of Israel.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I think Israel is losing the PR war. I think they're losing the propaganda war. And I think they've been losing it historically. And I'm not Jewish and I don't come from a Jewish family. I have a lot of Jewish friends though. And I like to see the truth as it is. And I like to speak the truth as it is. And unfortunately, what's happening is that, I was thinking about this the other day actually, or this today as I was walking. They say the face of evil always transforms, right? So the face of evil was the Nazis in the 1930s, but now they have morphed into like LGBTQ and pro-Gazans and all these people. Like now, because people think evil's face stays the same, like they think the second coming of the next Nazis or the next extremists is going to be Nazis again, but that's not going to happen. The devil knows how to shift and sort of, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's like a chameleon changing into different colors and going into different things. And fundamentally, I think the evil in the world now is Islamism, wokeism, is the unholy marriage of Islamism and wokeism. That's the evil in the world. So what is wokeism? Is this whole LGBTQ, whole oppressor versus oppressive, whole this Marxist, communist, left-wing ideology, sort of marrying up with the Islamists, not knowing when the Islamists.
Wait,
So
sorry, go ahead. Yep.
yeah, so they're not knowing that once the Islamists get into power, they will most likely kill everyone.
I think that, I don't understand the naivety of like leftists who
Yeah.
endorse Islamism. I try and understand it completely. First of all, there's something else happening in the world today.
Mm.
There is this kind of trend of people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens,
Yeah.
Dan Bilzerian, Andrew Tate, these kind of like fake right-wing people coming on and obsessing over Jews and
Yeah.
defending, really like running PR for Islamists. Like you see Tucker Carlson doing an interview with the uh, who did he do it with? Someone from the IRGC or the president of Iran?
It was
Uh,
Pezeshkian,
yeah,
the
which is
president.
and it was a very soft interview. He did an interview kind of praising Qatar, saying they're an incredible ally. He does these weird PR campaigns. That's coming from the right,
Hmm.
unfortunately, too now, and obsessing over Israel and doing it under the guise of I care about Christians, but I'll ignore the Christians killed in Congo. I'll ignore the Christians killed in Nigeria, in Syria, in
Hmm.
Yemen, in Iraq, all over the world in Islamist
Yeah.
states, and just obsess over Bethlehem. Um,
Yeah, and also he done a. Can you hear me?
yep.
So he also done an interview on, Putin with Putin, if you
Yep.
remember, and it was the softest interview I've ever seen. And I'm not saying don't give a platform to these people. Do give a platform to them, but challenge them when you ask them the question. For the whole time, he was just sat there like a lapdog, just shaking his head at
Hmm.
the propaganda Putin was spewing. He done the same with the Qataris, and he done the same when it comes to Pezeshkian. And I actually think, look, I used to like Tucker Carlson. At this moment in time, I think he's an absolute moron.
Or he's just a
I
paid
used
for asset. I mean, there
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that could be it as well. But even the way he talks, I don't even know how this guy gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars for what he does. Because he's a moron. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand anything. He thinks like, oh yeah, look, I've said this before. America and Britain and the West has interfered in Middle East a little bit too much in the past, and they went into wars they shouldn't have had. But they missed the mark with Iraq and they missed the mark with Afghanistan. What they should have actually gone after is the Islamic Republic. Because the
Mhm.
Islamic Republic is the head of the snake. And I'm not saying go into a full scale war with Iran. No one is saying that. We don't want a single boot in Iranian soul. We don't want a single Iranian civilian dying. What we want is to overthrow the Islamic Republic. That's what we want. And then we have virtue signaling idiots like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, that don't understand the intricacies of the matter. They virtue signal. I was born in Iran, by the way. I'm Iranian. Okay, so I was born in that environment. I understand that. And the biggest problem for Iranians is the Islamic Republic. It's not America or Israel. The same way, the biggest problem for Palestinians is Hamas.
Mhm.
You understand? So
Yes.
these people think that, oh, yes, and they have this idea of, well, we should be completely isolationist and we should be completely sort of nationalist, not knowing that, I think Trump made a strategic mistake because the fact that he didn't finish the job with the Islamic Republic is going to come and bite him in the ass in the near future.
Of course, they're going to have an opportunity to kind of come back stronger potentially with time.
Yeah.
Um, it's really interesting, the new isolationist movement, and it stems from the things you're talking about. At least people are taking advantage of the fact that to most Americans, Iraq and Afghanistan were not successful campaigns, right? That's the
No,
general
definitely not.
perception in our country, and that we did meddle, and that when we have tried regime change before, it has failed. But I tell people this all the time: the Iranian people are not the same as the Iraqi people. They're not the same as the Afghani people. There's a
Yeah.
different culture. There's a culture there that has proven it accepts democracy, proven that it can be uh, more advanced in terms of its connection to our culture, to Western culture.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't like those comparisons. I think they're a little bit ridiculous, and it degrades the opportunity for the Iranian people to
Mm.
actually have their freedom. Um, but there was such propaganda as Iranians in the street in Iran were cheering for the
Mm.
end of the IRGC. People in America, these left wokeists, were cheering in praise of the IRGC. It's a very weird phenomenon.
Yeah, exactly. They think they're somehow Iranians are so sad that Israel is bombing. I was celebrating. When Trump bombed the nuclear bases, I was celebrating. So was all my friends, majority of my friends at least, right? When Netanyahu killed Ismail Hani in Tehran, I was celebrating. When Israel killed all these IRGC heads of state, I was celebrating. But then you turn on CNN and BBC and they make it this apocalyptic, sort of all Iranians are so mad. No, Iranians are very happy because 85% of Iranians absolutely hate the Islamic Republic. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's like, and the ones that love the Islamic Republic is like, I think what is it called? The Stockholm syndrome.
yeah,
Is that when you fall in love with your
oppressor.
Oppressor, exactly,
Yeah,
or with your
kidnapper.
sort of prison guard or
Yeah.
kidnapper, exactly. So that is what it is. And unfortunately, this is what I mean. The biggest enemy of the world is these left wing lunatics that somehow think they know better than the native people that live there. Or these woke mind virus idiots that are actually the fascists, that are actually the Nazis. If you actually think about it, if you don't conform to their ideology, when you say, oh, there's no 100 different genders, by the way, there's two genders, there's male and female. You can be gay or you can be straight, or you can be lesbian and you can be straight. But you can't, identify as a two-faced fairy. Oh no, that's offensive. Oh, you're, homophobic. When you say, well, men and women are not the same. They can be equal, but they're not the same. Men are built for certain things. Women are built for certain things. You
Yeah,
can't
I
compete with
strongly
each
agree.
other in
Yep.
sport. Oh, you're sexist. No, I didn't say that. And it's the most obvious things. If you can't say the most basic thing that even bacteria can detect male and female, right? And you're a human being, you cannot say who's a man and who's a woman. Then there's something wrong with you. And it's much deeper than saying, oh, it's about LGBTQ. It's about gaslighting. It's about saying black is white and white is black.
Well, that's
You know?
exactly actually the importance of this, at least in regard to Israel and the Jews and Hamas and Palestinians, is
Yeah.
it's a perfect demonstration of an inversion of truth. Hamas
Yeah.
are being raised on a pedestal. There's no accountability. The Palestinians are perpetual victims. It's the exact ideology you're talking about that
Yeah.
allows for that to happen. They can invert reality where you can go massacre over 1,000 people. You can take them as hostages. You can rape them. You can declare genocide. You can launch rockets. But they will invert that truth. And when the other country does anything about it, they are automatically the ones who are committing genocide. They're automatically the ones who are evil. They're
Yeah.
automatically the ones who are oppressors. And it's but that same ideology. I always say that I think Israel, the obsession with Israel, all these people like claim to be in on the conspiracy. COVID woke me up to what's going on in the world. I'm like, but you're not woken up to the fact that the mainstream media is feeding you a narrative about Israel and the Jews.
Yeah.
All your favorite social media influencers who are paid by Qatar are feeding you information about Israel, but you're not aware of the potential that you're being brainwashed over here in every other aspect of your life. You don't trust the information you're given. But when it
Right.
comes to bashing Israel, the second Tucker Carlson tells you this is where 100% of your focus should be, and it's
Yeah.
just I think it's an intentional subversive movement to ignore or to distract from the Islamism and the extremism that's happening in Europe, in Canada, in the United States, across the world, so that everyone just keeps their eyeballs on this one issue and ignores the
Yeah.
loss of identity of Europeans completely, or of Canadians, or of Americans.
Yeah.
Um,
No, definitely. I just think, look, I think Europe is done, man. And I think we had too many immigrants coming from third world countries. Look, I'm an immigrant myself, but I think the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war and the whole instability in the Middle East has led to a lot of Islamically, deeply ideological immigrants, economic immigrants coming to Europe and infiltrating Europe from within. It hasn't happened in America yet, but it's slowly and surely happening. You can look at New York, for example, with Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani, which is an absolute fraud, by the way. He said on his university application that he's African American just to get a placement, and he still failed in the same university that his father worked,
mhm,
right? And then he tries to be a socialist, and he grew up in a very wealthy family, went to private school.
mhm.
So these virtue signaling idiots, now, I call them champagne socialists. And now this guy, that's the Islamist and a communist, is going to become the next mayor of New York.
You want to
And
hear
that's really
something even sadder? 67% of Jews under the age of 44 are
yeah,
supporting him.
that's crazy. And
Well,
again, I
because
just don't understand. But I mean, the
there's
Jews historically always supported the Democrats, but I think that needs to change now.
it is changing slowly, but you do have
Yeah.
in New York these kind of hyper leftist Jews. You see it
They're
mostly
really
amongst
stupid.
the Ashkenazi Jews, not the Sephardic Jews. So
Yeah,
Sephardic Jews have typically sided more conservative. Ashkenazi Jews are just hyper liberal to the sense of even bashing Israel. It's almost like a suicidal mentality.
yeah,
It's like what you were talking about Iranians who will support the IRGC.
yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Uh,
Tell me.
so, would did you always kind of seek truth, and your perception of Israel has always been that that there's some hypocrisy there, or did it change over the years? Kind of, what was your experience
Well,
and
look,
journey?
I was actually thinking about this the other day. They say that when you're young, if you're not a liberal, then you don't have a heart. But if you're a little bit older and you're still a liberal, then you don't have a brain. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, it's okay to be liberal when you're young, and it's better to be conservative as you get older. And look, I went to London School of Economics and I studied politics and international relations, and it's a top university, but it's a top university that actually indoctrinates you. And that's actually one of the reasons I don't actually like the education system anymore. It's based on a Victorian model that tries to indoctrinate students. So I was indoctrinated with this left-wing socialist ideology that said, Marxism is good, pro-Palestine, stuff like that. And when I came out of university, I had to sort of unbrainwash myself from all this indoctrination I received in university. The same thing that's happening in Harvard and in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be completely honest with you, no, I wasn't always pro-Israel because I thought like they're occupying Gaza and they're occupying Palestinians. But then the more I looked at the evidence, I was like, no, they're actually the biggest problem for Palestinians themselves and their own leadership and Islamic extremism. So yeah, I'm a perfect example of someone that used to be on the left and now I'm on the right. So if I can do it, then anyone can.
Okay, so that's a optimistic viewpoint. I feel a lot of the times the
Yeah,
propaganda, like you said, Israel has been so destroyed by this propaganda war,
yeah, yeah.
in terms of the world's perception of it. That I meet people, they tell me millions of Palestinians have died. Millions have always been dying. It's been a genocide for 70 plus years, and Israel wants to kill every. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't even know how to start this
Mm,
conversation to get you out of what you believe. It's just so extreme.
yeah.
Um, and they don't even accept the fact that within Israel itself, 20% of the population is Arab. They won't acknowledge that with equal rights, citizenship,
When
they're in
2 million
parliament.
Muslims live in Israel, 2 million Muslims live in
Yeah.
Israel. That's insane. That's a
And
lot of
again, with
Muslims.
full equal rights, they poll positive for the country. They want to live in under Israeli rule, if you poll them, far more than any Palestinian or Muslim rule.
Exactly. Israel is
Um,
the only democracy in the Middle East. If you look at the countries around, they don't have any rights. So they're the only ones. It's funny that. And another thing I was speaking about, why is it that 85% of all immigrants are from Muslim countries? So Muslims, they escape Islamic countries, they go to either Christian or Jewish countries, and then they try to turn it into the country they escaped from. I just don't understand that mentality. And that's one of the reasons I started speaking about Islam a lot on my page. I don't know if you've seen it, but I
I
started
did.
like criticizing Islam like extensively in the past. And I was like, look, this is what it says in the Quran. And I don't hate Muslims. I think every religion has dark parts in them. But then the difference with Judaism and Christianity is that they went through their own age of enlightenment and renaissance, in which they separated church and state. And also, Islam is a very militant religion. There's a lot of call to action in Islam. It's not quite the same in Judaism and in Christianity. So that's what we have to be careful about. And I'm optimistic. I think at the end of the day, Israel will win this war. They might lose the propaganda war now. But overall, look, they've almost destroyed Hezbollah. They almost destroyed Hamas. They almost destroyed the Houthis. They almost destroyed the Islamic Republic. So the ball is in their court now,
Yes.
right? They have the control. And look, as I said, Netanyahu is a great leader. Why? Because he's willing to take the flag. He's willing to be the bad guy, but do the right thing. Whereas
It's
a lot of
interesting. My
me,
family, my family's very split in Israel over supporting him and not supporting him. But
mm,
there's no person in the world that's held, or no country, no person, no leader that's held to that standard. People always, the weirdest arguments I hear toward Israel is they'll find one thing wrong and they go, how can you justify this? Israel's a demonic state. And I go, I'm not justifying it. That
yeah,
was bad. But
yeah,
every country
exactly.
has done bad things. You're just taking this one isolated example and saying because Israel did this one bad thing, it's a demonic state, it's the worst state in the world. You're holding it to an impossible standard. I've even said, like, people are like, do you think Israel's committed war crimes? I'm like, there is no war in human history where a soldier on his own has not gone and done something unethical. You're taking 18-year-olds, you're sending them into a war zone. There's going to be some kind of unethical act from any army in the world in the
Mm,
history of all of
exactly.
mankind.
Yeah, but
So
this
it's
is not
like,
this is the false narrative that we're speaking about. It's not IDF's orders to shoot civilians. It's a rogue sort of individual attack by an idiot or that. But war can make people go crazy. So
yeah,
imagine you're in Gaza, you're stuck in Gaza, as you said, you're an 18-year-old kid, you've been stuck there for a week. You can go crazy, and then you might start shooting people. But the most important thing is it's not direct IDF um, orders, and it's not what Netanyahu said. However, the other side, they say we want to eradicate all Jews. Islamic Republic says we want to destroy Israel. That's coming from the top officials of their governments, of their leadership, and that is the false equivalence we have.
yeah,
You
well
know,
said.
yeah, so the false equivalence is that these leaders, they come out and say death to Israel. We want to kill every single Jew. But have you ever heard Netanyahu come and say we want to kill every single Gazans or every single Palestinian? No. It's like we actually go out of our way to save civilians. We stay in aid, and that is the thing. And look, another last thing I want to say about this is that, look, you cannot start a war and then complain when you lose it.
Hmm.
So you started the war, now you're losing it, and now you're screaming genocide. It's like going up to someone and going up to like a fighter, pro fighter, slapping him in the face, and then complaining when he knocks you out, and saying, "Oh, he assaulted me." It's like, no, you're the one that attacked him in self-defense, so you can't complain anymore.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
leader of Hezbollah back in the day, I remember his name, but he said, I hope every Jew in the world gathers in Israel so I don't need to hunt them down around the world one by one. And
yeah,
people, and by the way, there's a guy in American University who's talking to a Muslim girl, and
mhm,
she's trying to pretend she's kind of liberal in this, and he goes, the leader of Hezbollah said this, for it or against it? And she doesn't answer, and he goes, for it or against it? And she actually doesn't lie. She goes, for it. She wanted every Jew hunted in Israel to be hunted. And so, I learned very early on, it's not about Israel for a lot of for a
yeah,
lot of the,
yeah.
Islamic world, sadly. It's just about the affront that there's
Anti-Semitism,
a Jewish state. What?
anti-Semitism, hatred of Jews that goes back historically. But look, by the end of the day, you've done well. You've sort of quieted the sort of bulliness, like, oh, we're going to destroy Israel. No, we're going to. It's funny because the Khamenei, like after 7th of October, he came out and said, "This is the beginning of the end for Israel," but it's ironically the beginning of the end for him and all
Hmm.
his, sort of troops, the Houthis, Hezbollah. All his friends are dead. Hassan Nasrallah is dead. Ismail Haniyeh is dead. Yahya Sinwar is dead. All the IRGC head commanders are dead, and he's hiding in a bunker now like a little rat.
What do you see for the future
With
of
Israel,
Iran?
as far as I stand.
What do you
Yeah,
see
and look,
for?
the thing is, I'm kind of disappointed, man. I really wanted Trump to finish the job. I don't know why he didn't allow Netanyahu to go and bomb Khamenei as well. But I think he didn't want to do that because the Russians said, if you do that, then we're not going to negotiate with you over Ukraine. I think Putin had a hand in that, but he
Really?
made a mistake. I think so, yeah. But he did, because if he took out the Islamic Republic, then he would have isolated Russia. Then they were in a weaker position and they would have been more likely to negotiate. So I think he made a huge strategic mistake. But then again, look, he had the balls to not nuke, bomb the
Nuclear facility.
nuclear bases. Yeah, so no other president had the balls to do that. So credit where credit is due. No one's perfect, but yeah, I wish he just finished the job, man.
I see it as a lost opportunity also, and I see that
Yeah.
do you mind me asking what religion you are? Are you atheist?
I'm not atheist and I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I believe
Yeah.
in God. I think like different religions are different perspectives on God throughout different historical times. I think God is deeply personal, and it can't be quantified through religion. I was an atheist for 10 years, believe it or not, between like 15 and 25. But because of some personal experiences, and I think, look, I see God as an energy and a frequency and a vibration. And I think everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And the more you are aligned with that energy, frequency, and vibration, the better your life will be.
Do you want to talk about those experiences? I'm just curious. Faith is a big thing for me. I had a big, me too. I didn't believe in God at all.
Okay, look,
Right.
I don't really want to say it, but I had some psychedelic experiences, some deep psychedelic experiences, and I saw it. And I want to. It's not a hallucination because everyone sees the same thing, and maybe it's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I think it unlocked a part of my brain. And I look, my life has got exponentially better because I
Wow.
think there's deep, deep, deep emptiness in being an atheist. And you know, the thing is, I think the atheists and the religious people, like hardcore religious people, are different sides to the same coin. One is convinced that their religion is the right one and their God is the right one, and the other is convinced that there is no God. And the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? The fact that atheists say, oh, there's nothing beyond this physical realm is idiotic and it's stupid and it's not true because we have already proven there is a realm beyond the physical realm, which we call the DMT realm. And DMT is something that your brain produces when you die and when you're born and when you dream. And I think that's where the spirit goes. And now they're doing a study on it on Imperial College, where they give participants DMT and they do it for an extended period of time. So these people can go to the DMT realm and map out the DMT realm. And everyone sees the same thing, hence why it's not a hallucination. A hallucination is individual to you. But if everyone's seeing the same thing, then there's something beyond the physical realm. And I think that's where the atheists are wrong. There's definitely something beyond this physical realm.
Yeah, studies on DMT are very fascinating. They call it the God molecule.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of study. You know, like the ancient tribes used to take ayahuasca,
yeah.
which is essentially just DMT in slow absorbing form. But you'll see guys like Joe Rogan just take a pipe with DMT and just like blast off. But there's also just the very fact atheists can never acknowledge the fact that if there's nothing beyond our physical realm in the material world, then
Mhm.
you have to assume that the material world created itself. That
Yeah,
something within a system created the system, which is a
yeah,
contradiction in terms. You
exactly.
cannot have a system that self creates because there has to be something outside. There has to be conditions in place. There has to be structure. There has to be some kind of rules or laws that dictate what the
Mm.
universe will explode from. So I always tell people, I'm like, you're so confident the universe came from nothing, but in nothing, there are no conditions to have anything be created, never mind a perfect universe to sustain human life and consciousness. And I don't think we have any idea what's going on here. I think we're at
Yeah.
such a
No,
low level of
and the thing
understanding.
is, another thing is that look, I think our spirits are timeless, and I think we're all the same, and I think we just come to this world and we get sort of like a barcode of a physical body,
Hmm.
and that is our barcode. Our DNA is our barcode.
Yeah,
And that's only unique to us, and there will never be anyone that has the same genetic code as me in the future or in the past, and the same with you and the same with everyone else. And I think our spirits come to this physical world to experience and to evolve and to learn. And I think heaven and hell is basically, if you die on high frequency, then you will go to heaven. And if you die on low frequency, you will go to hell. What is high frequency? If you, at the end of your life, if you are happy, if you're content, if you have love in your heart, if you've done good, if you've maximized your potential, if you was a good person and actually become the person that you're supposed to become, you're probably going to die on high frequency. So you're probably going to go to a better dimension. Whereas if you die and you're on low frequency, what is low frequency? Anger, guilt, shame, envy. If you die on low frequency, you will go to heaven. So this is the thing.
to
Heaven
hell,
and
you mean?
hell
Yeah.
is only like constructed in your own subconscious mind. And you decide the type of person you're going to become. And so this is the thing. I think there's a lot of metaphoric truths in religion. Metaphoric truths, not literal truths. Metaphoric truths. For example, when they talk about the seven deadly sins, what does sinning mean? Sinning means missing the aim. And missing the aim in life is sort of vital, or is deadly. If you don't, like, for example, we used to go out hunting. If we missed the aim, then we didn't eat. We died. And now we see it in football or in basketball. We try to hit the aim because hitting the aim is very important. And sinning means missing the aim. So when you miss the aim, what is the few things you can do in life to miss your aims? Have too much lust, be, gluttony, to eat too much, be lazy, get angry and burn bridges. These are the things that will make you miss your aims in life. So again, metaphoric truths. The story of Adam and Eve is about becoming conscious. When you become conscious, you
I
leave
agree. I just
paradise.
talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah, there's my story. The story of Eunice, story of Jonas in the Bible. It's about taking responsibility. What does happen to Jonas? He does something, he gives up, he goes, and then he's stuck in the belly of the well. What is the belly of the well? It's hell. And then he gets out of the hell and then goes back and does what he had to do originally. So don't give up, take responsibility. So all these stories in the Bible, I know the atheists say, oh, this is all nonsense. No, it's not all nonsense. It's metaphoric stories. And I'm not saying you can only get metaphoric stories from Bible or the Torah or the Quran. You can get it from everything. So that's why I believe in God. And I think that there's definitely some metaphoric truths in religion for sure.
So I'm going to tell you one last story, and then if you want to say anything else. But
Sure.
so I remember I had a situation where someone I knew younger was very young. They passed away,
Right.
and the rabbi. There was a rabbi at the house. They were Jewish, and I was like, I was young also. I was a teenager, but they were a kid, and I was like, how does this happen? It doesn't make any sense. If God's real, why would a little kid get sick and die? And he
Hmm.
told me that kids that age, or if you look at the way a human works, his soul, because we're in physical bodies, we see through physical eyes, physical senses. We're given these senses, these experiences, touch, everything, to experience the world. But because of these senses, we can also taint our soul because we can sin, like you said. We can do the
Yeah.
wrong thing. And that's part of our experience here. And through your life, you do things, you make actions, and when you die, you have stains on your soul, and your soul
Yeah.
has to clean itself. That's what hell is. It has to look at itself, which is pure. Every soul is pure. Even you look at the worst people in the world, they have a pure soul. It's just tainted through the physical, like you said, barcode of your body.
Yeah.
And so they have to find a way for self forgiveness. The soul
Right.
has to forgive itself, find a way to find peace with itself for the life it lived. And then that is what hell is. But when a child that is under the age of 13 in Judaism dies, he cannot have any stains on his soul. He goes directly to sit beside God. I thought that was just a very beautiful way to look at the loss of a child.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I agree. And I think, look, the thing is, you talk about the five senses. I think that we have a survival based perception in which we see everything through our survival based perceptions. So we're hungry, we're thirsty. And I think what happens when you take psychedelics, or at least when you become very spiritual or very enlightened, or when you meditate, you kind of leave this survival based perception and you look at things through your third eye. What is the third eye? The eye of God. So you see everything through your perceptions, but it's your perception. But when you leave your perception and you leave your body, you look at everything through the eye of God, which is the eye of Horus. And this is the symbol that was, drawn in Egyptian, in ancient Egypt. And I think everyone should at least try and look at things as they are. Because, that's what the Matrix is. The Matrix is the reality you constructed in your own head. And in order to break away from the Matrix, you have to leave that system and look at life as it is, not the perceptions that your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind and through, your survival-based perception and your traumas you have built. So that's very important. And all I want to say to people is, to end this, is break away from the Matrix, look at life through the third eye. These people that are trying to brainwash you through pro-Palestine, pro-Gaza, pro-LGBTQ, this is all a part of the Matrix. Break away from the Matrix and look at reality as it is. And that goes for everything. That goes for even organized religion. There's extremists on both sides. There's a lot more extremists on the Islamic side, that's for sure, but there's also a lot of extremists on the Israeli side. We have to
yeah,
admit
of
that.
course, there's extremists. There's always
Yes.
been.
Yeah, there's
Um,
always been. So I think we're all human beings, we're all spiritual beings, we're all the same. And I think ego is the illusion of separation. And they say God is unity and the devil is separation. So we need God to win.
it's a good way to end it.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Send me
guys.
the full video, man. That was a great podcast. Please send it to
Thank
me
you.
by email and I'll clip it up and we'll both clip it up and we'll both like share a few clips, okay?
100%. Thank you, brother.
All right.
And I'll make
Thank
sure to
you.
tag you so people follow you.
Yeah, collaborate. But also send me the full clip so I can do it like some of the stuff I like that I said. But I'll collaborate with you and we just post, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Till next time, bro. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
for having me. Just bye.